My goal on earth is to empower teachers. I find it sad that in spite of knowing how much power high quality education has, we still as teachers find ourselves deeply disempowered. Many of us feel we should carry the burden of ungratefulness and ignorance, especially those of us who have spent their careers working for mainstream institutions. I was lucky enough to be born into what I would call an esoteric or spiritual family. When I was a young child, my mum would tell me, if there is something you don't like about the world, it means you've got to be in the front line to stand up and change that. Since I was very young, I've always felt an urge to educate the world. I do remember my mum reading a book by Louise Hay where the author was talking about the tremendous power our bodies have in drawing our consciousness to hurtful mental patterns that dominate our thinking. I got so inspired by that reading that by the following day I got down to writing my own similar book with a sound-alike theme. With time, I discovered how much power high-quality teaching could bear. Having experienced an opposite end of the spectrum at school with what looked to me like flippant and violent teaching, I've come to discover how profound it is to be able to experience a way of teaching that is emotionally friendly, inclusive, and keeps your students' interests at heart. As far as our progression into the year 2020 is concerned, I feel we're growing out of the age of rational X number of steps, universally applicable techniques that any teacher can follow and be sure that their students will grasp the material. The mechanical approach to teaching individuals is no longer going to work. There is so much stress and inequality in the world that we should stop pretending that our classroom is somehow sterile and impermeable for the real world agenda. Competition-driven classrooms are no longer going to be sustainable. Competition-driven educational ranking systems are no longer going to be sustainable. We're growing more well-versed in terms of our human psychology, and we realise how much stress competition brings to our everyday functioning, to our everyday lives. We start realising how damaging competition can be if we only study for marks and we don't pay attention to the learning process itself, which should be key to living happily on this planet Earth. We all have this internal drive for learning, for exploring, but how many of us have actually finished school without actually realising that drive, as if it was taken away by some evil creature? As we are entering the year 2020, we need to pay more attention to how we can fuse our personalities with the subjects we teach. Up till this day, we've tried out a plethora of techniques for reaching a state of permanent happiness. Most of those techniques, including the denial and suppression of our emotions, attention switching and obtrusive positive focus, alongside most superficial, surface level, quick fix techniques, have brought us little fulfillment or even proved to be damaging. We're growing more discerning when it comes to exam stress and ranking in educational environments. As a whole, we're turning into a society with an embedded understanding of our psychological and energy systems. I want to ask you to imagine a society where school is no longer a threat, but a space for finding oneself. A place where wonder and curiosity, in whatever way an individual chooses to manifest them, get encouraged and generated. I'm asking you to imagine a world where everyone actualises their desire for learning and uncovers their bright shining potential, coming from the bottom of their true essence. It's time for us to fuse transformational development work into every classroom, and it is our teachers' role to use our inner power so that we can see how we can intertwine that with the subject we teach, be it maths, history or the English language. Feel free to complement this purpose with your insights in the comments below, and I will see you very shortly.